Between war and peace, the dynamic of the Pakistan-India conflict and hope for peace in South Asia. The target audience is political sciences and international relations students and people interested in South Asian geopolitical issues. The background: Pakistan-India conflict hits roots in 1947. The conflict between Pakistan and India has its roots in 1947, when British India was divided into independent countries. This separation not only created new theoretical boundaries, but also sparked deep political, religious, and identity tension. Since independence, the two countries were formed with different national vision. India as a secular state with a Hindu majority, meanwhile Pakistan as a state built for Muslim. It was this difference in vision that encouraged mutual suspicion and hostility. Amidst this situation, the Jammu and Kashmir region became most crucial point due to its status, which has never been truly resolved. As a result, Kashmir has become a symbol of conflict and a center of bilateral tension that continues to this day. The second is partition of India and Pakistan. The partition of India and Pakistan in 1947 was based on religious lines with the assumption that it will ease conflict. However, the reality was quite the opposite. The division of territory triggered the largest mass migration in the modern history, with millions of people forced to leave their homes. Communal violence erupted in various regions, killing hundreds of thousands of people and leaving deep collective trauma. This trauma is not only historical, but also passed down across generations, shaping perception of the enemy and strengthening extreme nationalism in both countries. This historical runs from the psychological and political foundation of the post-Pakistan Pakistan-Indian conflict. The third one is the Kashmir dispute. Kashmir has very high strategic, political, and symbolic value for both India and Pakistan. The region has a Muslim majority population, but since 1947, most of it has been under Indian control, while Pakistan controls the West. Both countries claim Kashmir as a legitimate part of their national sovereignty. Both countries claim Kashmir has a legitimate part of their national sovereignty. This dispute is not merely a territorial conflict, but also concerns national identity, political legitimacy, and state security. Therefore, Kashmir has become a major source of military and diplomatic conflict, as well as tool for mobilizing domestic nationalism. Any incident of violence in Kashmir quickly escalates into a political crisis. The last one is dimension of war. The dimension of war in the Pakistan-Indian conflict is reflected in a series of open wars and military controversy. The two countries were involved in major wars in 1970, 1947, 1948, 1965, and 1971, as well as limited conflict, such as the Kargil War in 1999. The war dimension of the Pakistan-India conflict is reflected in the series and military controversy. The arms race and nuclear weapons. India and Pakistan both possess nuclear weapons as a fact that fundamentally changes the nature of conflict in South Asia. Since India conducted its first nuclear tests, followed by Pakistan decades later, every military tension is no longer just a typical regional conflict, but has the potential to become a global crisis. The position of nuclear weapons make the escalation of conflict far more dangerous, as one miscalculation could lead to massive destruction. The existence of nuclear weapons poses a serious threat to regional stability in South Asia. The impact of nuclear conflict will not be limited to India and Pakistan alone, but would also affect neighboring countries and international security. Therefore, this conflict cannot be viewed as a purely bilateral issue. Impact of the Pakistan-India war, such as military and civilian casualties, thousands of people killed in conflict and border clashes, damage to critical infrastructure, homes, schools, health facilities, transformation network, and the worst impact was felt in the Kashmir region. Dimension of peace. Although conflict often dominates Pakistan-India relations, various peace efforts continue to be made. Dialogue and diplomacy are the main instrument for easing tension, both through bilateral meetings and military communication channels. Several bilateral agreements, such as the ceasefire agreement, show that cooperation remains possible amid mistrust. International mediation through organizations such as the United Nations plays a role in monitoring ceasefires and preventing the escalation of conflict. However, most peace efforts are temporary. Ceasefires are often fragile and easily violated, indicating the peace is not yet structural and sustainable. The challenges. Peace between Pakistan and India faces many major challenges. Domestic political interests often exploit the conflict as a means of mobilizing public support. The political elite in both countries tend to take a hard line in order to maintain their legitimacy and image of nationalism. Extreme ideologies and nationalism also complicate reconciliation efforts. The narrative of enemy continues to be reproduced through the media and political discourse, narrowing the space for dialogue. The lack of touch between countries exacerbates the situation, where every move is perceived as a threat. Above all, the unresolved Kashmir issue remains a major obstacle to long-term peace. Social and humanitarian impact. The polar conflict has created as a serious humanitarian crisis in Kashmir. Many civilians have been forced to flee their homes due to violence and insecurity. Losing their homes and livelihoods, children and women are the most vulnerable group for this situation. The conflict between Pakistan and India is complex and rooted in a long history of separation, territorial disputes, and differences in identity and political interests. War and violence have caused great suffering, especially for civilians who are the main victims. This cannot be achieved through military force alone, but requires mutual commitment, political courage, and thus build credibility. Continuous and inclusive dialogue is key to a more stable and peaceful future for South Asia. And thank you.